I hope you are able to see my screen.
Yes, sir. This film is visible.
Okay, thank you for confirming. So, welcome everyone. Today is third day of the demo series. So far, we have discussed on two key topics. Okay, so we started with understanding what a business analyst would typically do. Yes, we started with two type of work that majorly happens within the IT sector, the software development and the analytics related part, okay, and how a BA contributes in the software development sector. Then we went ahead and understand the training program of for the BA, for the business analyst. So what are the primary expectations from a BA? What skills will you learn from this training program? What topics we will be covering, and in how many days we'll be covering those topics? We also looked at some of the prerequisites and myths around BA, what kind of certifications you can opt for, and how do we help you prepare for the business analyst job. Yeah. Now, today, what we will do is we will cover two more topics. Okay. Now, these are some of the commonly asked questions by the students. So, one is what's the difference between a BA and a DA? Are both the same, or are these two different things? Okay. And then the second one is business analyst is a non-coding role. Similarly, a Scrum Master as well is a non-coding role. So, which one should I opt for? And then how is AI shaping up the work that I'll do as a BA? So we will first start with we'll start with difference between business analyst and data analyst. Now historically the term business analyst was used for people working on the requirement gathering side in software development. Okay. However, nowadays, the word analyst is being used heavily for any data related projects. Okay. So that's why in the starting I clarified on like there could be either software development related work or data analytics related work. Okay. A data analyst primarily works in data analyst will primarily be working on data related projects. This way. So for a business analyst, they primarily work in the software development. Okay. And just to reiterate, software development is basically building a product, building a software, whereas data related projects are how do we use the data that was generated by our software efficiently. Okay. So when we have a software, like you might build a banking software. So customers will log in, view their balance, perform some type of transactions like transferring money or receiving money, and they may pay their bills also online, so they can use the banking software differently. So each action that a customer performs using banking software will generate data. Okay. So what do you do once the data is generated? So the data can be used to build customized experience for the customers on our software. Okay. So those fall under data related projects. So once you generate the data, what do you do with that data? Whether you generate reports, whether you build AI ML machines on it. Okay. So those all fall under data related projects. So business analyst is primarily involved in the software development phase. Data analyst primarily works on the data related projects. Nowadays, people often use the term business analyst even for data related projects. Okay. So that is where I suggest everyone to review the JD or the job description carefully. Okay. If the term says business analyst, but your job description has all the features of a data related project, then maybe it's not the job for you. Okay. We will see what points you can look into a job description to differentiate between a BA and a data analyst. The second one is other than the type of work, your skill set. So a data analyst, I am abbreviating it as DA. So a data analyst prime is primarily supposed to have knowledge on the first one to start with is SQL. Python, it can be like if suppose if you want to generate reports using data, then you don't require knowledge of Python. Maybe Power BI, Tableau alone can help you. But if you have to do data engineering or if you have to work on data science like AI ML related projects, then you definitely need to know some programming languages as well. And then the data visualization tools like Power BI, Tableau, and advanced Excel, so that you can do data visualization or generate report using those tools. Now, these are not the only skills needed, but these are mandatory as part of your data related work. For a business analyst, your primary skill set revolves around stakeholder management. Okay. We have already discussed a BA is a client facing role. So you will be working with your stakeholders directly. Okay. So you get the feedback from stakeholder directly. If your team does well, though you are not involved in coding, but let's say you build the product well, the software was well received and appreciated by the client. Okay. In that case, client will praise you. But suppose there was a bug in the software, there was a defect in the software, even though you did not code it, but still this client will scold you only because you are in that client facing role. So managing stakeholder is your primary skill set. Okay. Then along with managing stakeholders, how do I write my requirements efficiently? Okay. Then documenting those requirements and all the stuff. Now, these are your primary skill set that is required as a stakeholder. Okay. Again, it may seem like a pretty simple thing, but the the simplicity is not in the task actually. The simplicity is in doing the same task every day. Okay. For example, I can talk nicely to you today, but the challenge is if I can talk nicely to you every single day for long years. Okay. So people often think that talking nicely to a stakeholder, understanding the requirements of a stakeholder, documenting the requirements of a stakeholder is an easy job. And it is easy if you just have to do it once in a while. But the challenge is when you have to do the same thing every day. Okay? Because as a BA, since you are in client facing role, you cannot go and argue. Your communication skills cannot be weak. Okay? So you cannot go and fight with your stakeholders saying that you don't have any knowledge. Okay? You have to be polite, you have to be diplomatic, you have to understand what they are saying. Even though you can be frustrated, but still you have to feel their requirement or document their requirement first. They can come to you with 100 changes in the requirement. Still, you have to remain calm only. Okay? So that's your stakeholder management skills. Then we look at the primary artifact that a BA and a data analyst produces. Okay. So a data analyst will generally be producing bunch of reports. Yeah. So what happens is, as a data analyst, requirements will be given to you. Like I want to know, I create a profit and loss report. okay, or create a report of all the states and how much sales we are making in all the states, okay, so that we can accordingly create our strategy. So the report is the primary artifact for a data analyst. Okay, these reports could be consumed by the leadership of the organization so that they can create accordingly strategy for wherever they are making losses, or they can create strategies to boost up profits as well. For a business analyst, their primary artifact is the requirement document, which is like source of truth. So everyone in the project, whether you are a developer, whether you are a QA, whether you are a project manager or a scrum master, whether you are a client itself, whether you are technical architect, whichever role you are in, if you want to know what needs to be done within a project, you refer to the requirement document. Sorry. Okay. Now, generally, we differentiate between these two roles on these three different areas. What type of work you will be doing in order to do this work, what type of skill set do you require, and the work that you are doing, what is the primary artifact in that work. Okay? Other than this, there could be certain overlaps as well. Overlap in the sense, a BA will give demo of the software to the client that this is what my team has prepared. Is it in line with your expectations or not? Similarly, a data analyst will also give demo of the report generated to the client that this is the report I have generated. So there will be certain overlaps as well. But what we wanted to go over was the major differences. Okay? Now, I'm not saying the differences are restricted only to this part, but these are the major differences. So whenever you review a job description which says job required for business analyst, okay, but instead of talking about stakeholder management, requirement gathering, requirement document, okay, instead of all this, if the job description for business analyst says SQL, Python, Power BI, Tableau, reporting, okay, that means the job is more for a data analyst and not for a business analyst. It's just that the organization has decided to use the word business analyst instead of data analyst. Okay. So that's why, in order to differentiate between the two, I suggest that you review the job description in these specific terms. Okay. Any questions so far? Yeah, I can take the silence as no questions. So let's go ahead. The next one is business analyst and scrum master. Okay. Now, most of the people, they understand that business analyst and scrum master are two different roles. But their major confusion lies is where the major confusion lies is business analyst is a non-coding role. That means I don't have to do any coding. Similarly, Scrum Master is also a non-coding role. So which one should I actually go for? Now, whether you decide between business analyst or Scrum Master, that's more on your interest. Okay. What kind of work are you primarily interested in doing? Are you interested in doing coding type of work? Are you interested in doing non-coding type of work? Now, if you are interested in doing coding type of work, I would suggest that you become a Java, a Python developer or a data analyst. Yeah, that will give you exposure into coding domains. But if you want to work in non-coding areas, then you have certain roles like business analyst, scrum master, project managers. Okay? Now, out of these non-coding roles, which one should I opt for? Okay. So again, we will first start with the skill set. Okay. We'll try to cover what type of work is needed. Now, a business analyst. Sorry. a scrum master or a business analyst, okay, what type of work they will be majorly undertaking. So a scrum master can be working in a data software development project or a data related project. Both both can be handled by a scrum master. But within that project, what a scrum master majorly will be doing is team management. A scrum master will be primarily responsible for managing the health and well-being of the team. Okay? So what is meant by health and well-being of the team? That means to get maximum productivity out of your team. Okay? So your team can do like how many tasks in a given time frame. Okay? Can your team do one task, two tasks, three tasks, or 10 tasks? It's the duty of a scrum master to manage team efficiently so that the team is always working at the highest level of productivity. Okay? As a business analyst within software development, I'm not supposed to manage any team. Okay? I'm supposed to manage stakeholders. Okay. So that's the primary difference between the type of work that a BA and a Scrum Master will be undertaking. Okay. A Scrum Master is primarily responsible for managing team, where the Scrum Master has to ensure that my team's productivity is at its peak. Okay. Now, what type of skill set is required? So for a Scrum Master, the primary skill set that is needed is people management. It's okay if you don't understand any technicalities of how a software is built, okay? But the primary skill set is the people management. Okay? It is always good that you know multiple things, you have multiple skill sets, but the primary one that is needed is how do we manage people? Okay? Then things like time management. Like I mentioned, your team should always be working at the productivity for the team should always be at its peak. Okay? So your team should continuously be delivering high quality work in lesser amount of time. So that's why the time management part. Then when you are working with a team, mostly team will always come with challenges or problems or what we call here in IT is impediments. Okay? So impediments are nothing but challenges, roadblocks. So people will always come up with one or the other problems. How do you ensure that the problem is removed so that the team can continue doing their work? Yeah. For a BA, we already discussed you require skill sets like stakeholder management, requirement management, okay? The understanding of a software development life cycle. Then what are the primary artifacts that a Scrum Master produces? Okay. So they might be referring to project plans. Okay. How many people are needed to do a particular task? Okay. In what time the task should be completed? Whereas as a BA will be requirement document. Now, other than this, there is one more point that I want to highlight. BA is a technical role, whereas Scrum Master is not a technical role. So what do I mean by it is, so technical role basically means that anyone who contributes directly to the software development. For example, a BA. Unless a BA gives you the requirement document, no one can start working. Once a requirement document is there, then you need a developer who will do the coding. Okay? Then you need a QA, quality analyst, who will do the testing on the code, whether the code written is defect free or not. Okay? So these three people who directly contribute to the software development, we consider them in the technical role. Okay, that they are very close to the software being built. Okay, so they know the functionality of the software, what the software is, how to navigate, what are the different options available in the software. So since these people, they are extremely close to the software development, they are part of the technical role or technical skill set. Okay. A scrum master doesn't necessarily involve himself or herself in software development. So the team will do the software development. The scrum master only ensures that the people are doing their job efficiently or not. Okay. So that is why a BA is a technical role, whereas scrum master is not a technical but a people management role. Okay. Now, when it comes to choosing between BA and Scrum Master, so we get back to the original point that should primarily be driven by your interest. If you are more interested in managing people, resolving their queries, impediments, so that they can get back to their work, if you are more involved, if you want to be more involved in creating a project plan, that what work we will do, when we will do the work, how many people do we require to do the job, what will be the budget of the work, then you can choose to be a Scrum Master. Okay. However, if you want to be on a technical side, you want to be more close to software development, you want to understand the software better, that what kind of software are we building, why are we building it, how is it going to solve real world problems, then you should try to stick into a technical role, which means you can choose to become a business analyst. But again, where you want to move forward should primarily be driven by your interest. Where can you sustain for longer duration? Whether you think people management is the job you love, then you should stay as a scrum master. But if you if you are still unsure, I always suggest to everyone that you be in technical role. If you are in IT, you be in technical role. That means closer to software development. So you can be a developer, you can be a quality analyst or a tester, or you can be a business analyst. Okay, but be in technical role. Technical role is where you have, when you are much closer to the software development, you have better skill sets that can sustain over longer time. Okay. Scrum Master skill set, they are more of time dependent. Okay. So just to give you guys an example, when the COVID struck in 2020, one of the things that IT industry did was to lay off certain people. Okay. Among those certain people was these non-technical role. Okay. People who were performing the role of Scrum Master or project managers. Okay. Because clients saw them as overheads or burdens. So the people who were playing the role of BA, they were told that along with BA, you will play the role of Scrum Master also. Okay? So do the team management for some time because we are running short of budget. So we are removing people in non-technical role. Okay? So that's where I suggest everyone that as much as possible, you try to stick around technical role. It also gives you better job security as well. Okay. I'm not saying as a scrum master there is no job security, but when the times are tough, when the situation goes south, okay, technical roles tend to have better job security. Any questions so far? Yeah, I'll take the silence as no questions. We'll go ahead with our last topic in the demo series, which is the impact of AI. Okay. Now, first of all, why are people even worried about AI or artificial intelligence? I think the primary concern that people are worried about AI is that AI will take jobs. Yeah, I think that's where the primary concern lies, that AI will take jobs. If AI take jobs, then what will I do? Okay. Will I be sitting idle? I think that's where the primary concern lies with most of the people across the countries. Okay. Now, why do you even think that AI will take jobs? AI is not something new. AI has been around for decades now. Okay. But what has substantially changed is earlier AI models were being built or used for specific tasks. Okay. Earlier models were being used for specific tasks. For example, I can build a model that can predict weather. Okay. So I can feed in lot of data around weather, like on which date, at what time, what will be the temperature in, let's say, Mumbai. So I can feed in like last 50 years of data for every single day, for every single hour, what was the temperature in Mumbai. Then based on that data, my model can give a prediction. Okay. So without looking at the real world time or looking at the real world data plus the historical data, the AI model can try to do a prediction what the weather will look like. Okay. So that accordingly we can prepare ourselves. Now, if I have built an AI model for weather prediction, if I ask it anything else other than weather, okay, can you beat me in chess? Can you play chess with me? Okay, it just won't be able to do that. So, in the earlier times, AI models were being built for specific tasks. Okay, so they will be performing that task alone. Nowadays, what we have AI is Gen AI. Okay, which means the AI is able to generate contents. So the content could be text, images, videos, presentations. So now my AI is no longer restricted to a specific task for which it was built. AI is able to generate content and it can generate content with multiple domains. I can ask it any banking related question. I can ask it, let's say, insurance related questions. I can ask it medical related questions. I can ask it questions on coding. I can ask it questions on testing, on software development. I can even ask it to generate a presentation for me or generate an image for me. So I think this Gen AI thing is what has been gaining traction in the last 7 to 8 years or so. Okay. And I think this is where most of the people are scared that earlier the AI was doing specific tasks. Now the AI is more transitioning into Gen AI and it is able to generate contents, which is where people think that whatever job I am doing, the artificial intelligence can also do it and it will make my life more difficult, which is by taking my job. But to be honest with you, that's not the case every time. Okay? So if you go back in history, earlier we used to do lot of jobs manually. Okay? So slowly what happened is electricity was developed and a lot of tasks, for a lot of tasks, we got machines. For example, earlier people would wash clothes by their hands. With electricity came the invention of washing machine. Now people started buying washing machine. So now they started washing clothes in washing machine. Does that mean that people lost their job who could not wash clothes any longer? Yeah. They switched to different ways of working. When internet came, again, Everyone was creating their website. Everyone wanted to do business online. People said now because everyone wants to do their business online, so there will be less of hiring, okay, less of job requirement. But do you think over time we have lesser jobs being posted or more jobs being posted? So every new invention will definitely take jobs from the earlier market, but it will also create new job opportunities as well. So whenever you take every new invention into picture, there will be new jobs created. For example, in the world of internet, now if you see, we have lot of people earning from social media platforms like YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook, which we haven't thought earlier. We never thought that there will be a social media platform and people will earn from it. When it comes to job, we always think of traditional methods. Okay? But that is where people say that human beings are creative. So every new invention will put you in a different direction to identify some creative jobs for you. So whether it is AI, whether it is something else in future, the first point that I would like to say is not to be afraid. Instead of being afraid, embrace AI. Okay? So with AI, there are a lot of problems as well. It's not that AI is one-stop solution for all your questions, for all your doubts, for all your queries. It is not. Okay? But AI can definitely, like I mentioned, help you create presentations. So suppose in the earlier days, I remember in my college days, when I was creating a presentation, I took almost one entire day to get through the presentation. Now I cannot work for 24 hours, so obviously I divided that presentation work into 2 days. So I took 2 days to complete a presentation. And after 2 days, I did the presentation. Now I don't have to spend even 2 hours also, okay, or 5 hours also, or one complete day also. I can ask AI to build a presentation. If I feel that certain presentation doesn't cover all the necessary topics, I can give it the content also. That you should create a presentation with 10 slides. Slide one should be introduction with my name. So my name and my details are this. Slide 2 should be table of content. This is the table of content. Slide 3 now should talk about first item from the table of contents. Then slide 4, second item. Like that, you create 10 slides. Okay? Now the AI knows specifically what it has to do. Okay? So rather than me completely relying on AI, or rather than me completely doing the job by myself, what we try to do is we try to create a balance. Okay. So rather than if you 100% rely on AI, then obviously you are not going to get the maximum benefit. If you 100% rely on yourself, you can do the job efficiently, but you might take in more time to do the same job. So what you can do is you can probably think of AI as an assistant, that I have 10 tasks to do. So let me delegate at least two, three tasks to AI, okay, as an assistant. While I am delegating the task, I'll give the specifics of the task. Like I mentioned, you cannot just say create a presentation on Scrum training. Okay? You can tell AI, if you say create a presentation on Scrum trainings, whatever AI finds useful, it will do it. Okay. If you blindly try to use it, it might not be of any use. Okay? Whereas if you tell AI, create a presentation on Scrum training, focusing on what is Scrum, Scrum artifacts, Scrum teams, you can mention some of the topics, okay, Scrum metrics, and let's say the benefits of Scrum. Okay, if you say about these specific topics, then AI can definitely help you build presentations specifically for your requirement. So don't just blindly use AI for each and everything, but rather than that, consider AI as an assistant. Okay? You delegate your task to assistant, but ensure that you guide your assistants as well. Okay? Don't just simply say do this task. How to do that task? What kind of output are you expecting? Guide in that direction as well. Okay. So that's where the first point comes in embracing AI. Okay. That use it as assistant, meaning guide it on how it needs to do a specific task. Okay. Now use it to boost productivity. Now, whenever we have discussion in office where people say AI will take out jobs, AI is not giving you smart responses, AI is not giving you correct responses and all that stuff, the only argument that actually is valid is that whether you can do your job efficiently or not. Okay? So no one says that blindly use AI's response. Okay? It is your duty to ensure that you get maximum out of it. Suppose I need to make some decision. Okay? Say I want to buy a stock. Okay, I don't know anything about stock markets. I don't know whether a particular company will be good or not. Let's say I've heard a lot about TCS, Tata Consultancy Services, that it's doing brilliant job. We should buy its stock. It will go up only. Okay. So rather than going through multiple articles across internet, rather than going through TCS website, what I can do is I can use AI to do my research. I can ask AI to bring in the data on TCS, that what the outlook looks like on TCS, what kind of job TCS has been doing, how its profit or losses have been growing, profit growing and losses declining, or how the management looks like. I can ask it various points so that it can do the research. Now, once I have the entire data at one particular place, I can use that data to do decision making by myself. Okay, I don't have to rely on AI to do the decision making. I don't have to ask AI, should I buy TCS or not? If AI says, yeah, go ahead and buy TCS shares. Suppose I bought TCS shares and then it went into losses, then whom am I going to hold accountable? So we don't use AI to directly make yes, no decisions. Okay, use it for your research. Okay? Use it for studying things and then do the decision making by yourself. That's where most of the people make mistakes. They think of AI as delegate everything and then let AI do the job so that I don't have to do anything. Naturally, when people stop doing the work, they are not needed any longer. Okay? So, whereas what should happen is you should work in conjunction with AI. Use AI to delegate some of the mundane, regular tasks which require some type of intelligence. For example, doing research. Now, when you delegate your tasks to AI, AI brings in data. You can do your job in lesser amount of your time. Suppose if I have to do the research, maybe I'll take 1 week to do the research. Then I'll take another 1 day to come up with a conclusion. So overall, I'll take 8 days for research plus conclusion. With AI, maybe AI can do the research for me in couple of hours only. So I can go through the data points that AI suggested. Now for that research, maybe for few points, I can pick up few points and go over internet to validate whether AI is giving me correct response or not. Say that reviewing the response, validating the response from AI will take me 1 day. If I find that AI is giving me correct response, then next day itself I can come up with a conclusion. So instead of 8 days, I can do my job in 2 days. Okay? So why will not people want you to do your job in lesser amount of time rather than taking more time? So that's where Mm. Embrace AI to boost your productivity. Okay. Don't delegate your entire task. There are certain problems with AI, like, for example, data security. People always, organizations specifically, they feel that our data is not secured with AI. Suppose I give some confidential information for AI to give me a response. Okay. Suppose I tell my identity, that who I am, for which client I am working on, and what type of work I am doing for that client. Okay. Now, organization feels this as confidential information, revealing client's identity, revealing the type of work we are doing. Suppose if I am working for a health insurance client and they want to come up with a new product, okay, and I give that new product information into AI, that what is this new product, will it be successful or not? So what organization feels is, if you share confidential information with AI can use that confidential information for training, and AI will pass on that confidential information to other organizations as well. Okay. So thereby you will not have competitive advantage. Okay. And one such instance has happened as well in the past, wherein one person was doing research for an idea in the world of electronics, okay? But he was using AI to interact on that idea. Since that person was working alone, okay, so he took some time to file for patent. Meanwhile, one of the organization, I think it was Samsung or some other, I don't exactly remember the name. Let's say organization A. So employees of organization A used AI to ask for new developments in the world of electronics. Okay. So AI gave the exact same idea which the other person was researching, taking help of AI. Okay. So now this other person, when he went on to file patent, he got a response that it's a duplicate idea. Now he was pretty much sure that no one else was working on it. Okay. So then when he got more information, he realized that organization A has already filed for patent on his idea. So obviously, he sued the AI company that you took my idea, you took my prompts, my responses, and then gave the idea to the organization A. So data security is one of the biggest concerns with AI, that whatever response you give back to AI is using it for training, and that data might be shared with multiple companies as well. Okay. The second problem that people feel is accuracy of the response. Okay. How accurate the responses are. Okay. And no one is saying that AI is giving 100% accurate response. Obviously, the responses must be dealt carefully. Now, these major challenges over time, maybe the accuracy of the response can be bring down, can go up. Maybe organizations will bring in models that will offer better data security. Okay. But until these problems exist, what is needed is that you embrace AI carefully. Okay. Use it as an assistant. Don't try to ensure delegate entire task to AI. Guide it in the appropriate direction. Use it to boost productivity. Okay. But don't just 100% rely on AI itself. Now, when people and AI working together, getting job done in lesser amount of time, that is what most of the organization wants. That in 1 week, instead of working on one project, maybe you can finish two projects in 1 week. Okay. So instead of being afraid, I would say embrace AI. Don't be worried about AI taking jobs. Use AI to do your job efficiently, but keep upskilling yourself. Okay. Instead of being worried, focus on how can I upskill myself. Like I go back to my internet worlds example. So when internet came in, you see lot of people, we like you and I might be afraid. We did not start our job, but there were many people who were afraid, thinking that the internet will take up lot of jobs. But see the amount of jobs that internet created. Okay? In order to lay out the internet network, then companies like Airtel, currently we have Geo Fiber, all those are because of internet only. Okay? They are mainly providing internet services, broadband services. Okay? So many jobs were created Then there were rise of social media platforms. Social media platforms wanted content. For content, they were looking for people. So then people took up jobs like podcast, creating videos, editing videos, okay, writing content. So again, many jobs were created around it. So don't be afraid to upskill yourself with the changing time. Okay. So keep an open mind, keep an open view. As of now, embrace AI to ensure that you boost your productivity, you do your job efficiently in lesser amount of time. Okay? If you say that with so many AI tools around me, I'll still take more time to do the job, and the organization might see you as a burden. Okay? So embrace it to do your job efficiently, but at the same time, keep an open mind. Okay, whenever time comes, keep upskilling. Get to know about what AI does, the intricacies or technicalities of AI, and then how can you get yourself involved with AI. Any questions? Yeah, I'll take the silence as no questions. Now, I'd like to end the training on two notes. Okay, so the first note is that still as of now, BA being a client facing role, organizations still rely more on human beings like you and me than on an artificial intelligent machine. Okay, it's a gradual shift. Maybe someday, maybe a day will come when the machines will become as much smart as human beings. Maybe that day will come when machines can be relied upon as well. Okay, maybe in such times, the organizations might start delegating the work of BA to AI machines. But is that work coming now? Absolutely no. Okay. So with respect to delegating tasks, still organizations have more trust on human beings. Okay? It could be because of data security, because of client being extremely important to their business. They still rely on human beings. That's the first note. Second note that I want to mention is remember to keep upskilling yourself. Okay. If you look at our parents, they did a completely different type of job than what we are doing. Okay. So change is part of the nature. Don't be worried about upskilling with the changing time. It's just that in our parents' uh, job duration or job tenure, they just worked on one thing, okay, and they never had to be worried about working on something else. Whereas in our case, things are changing fast. Maybe in 10 years, you will do one type of thing. The next 10 years, you will do a different type of role. So upskilling is important. Okay. Now with that, I'll conclude our day three of the demo series. If you have any questions, if you have any doubts on business analyst related part, your career growth part, anything, you can reach us on this number mentioned on your screen. Okay. If you have any doubts to be clarified, don't hesitate to message also. If you are not willing to call, you can message also. Okay, so we have one question. So before ending the today's topic, okay, Aslam is asking what's the job market for BA as of now? Okay. So the job market for BA is only growing with every day. Now, what happens is earlier, India was being primarily targeted for uh, coding related work, project management, project managers, and testing related work. Okay. The business analyst related work was more close to US people. Okay. So, for example, suppose if my client is in US, suppose uh, Bank of America is my client, then what organizations would do is the BA should be within US only. Okay? So BA should be within US, closer to Bank of America. Now, with the help of all these collaboration tools, like, see, we are connecting through Zoom application. Even though we are not sitting next to each other, still we are able to talk to each other. So with the advent of all these collaboration tools and a shift towards saving cost, okay, the BA role also slowly started migrating to India. So when I started my job in 2010, at that point in time, there was only focus on managers, developers, and testers. Okay. I hardly saw a BA. By 2016, 2017, there was a gradual shift that we want BA also here so that our team will be complete. Around 2019, 2020, this shift became more prominent. Okay. So now you see that every team should have a BA, so that I have a BA, developer, tester, project manager, all working from India in the same time zone, so that my work can continue for longer duration. Earlier, BA was in US, team was in India. So developer will wait for entire day for BA to come online. In the evening time, the BA will come online, will give you the requirements. The next day, the developer will start coding. Okay. So there was some productivity loss as well. Now, when BA and developers and testers are co-located, they work in the same time zone. So there's better productivity. And only thing I'm seeing is the trend is becoming more and more prominent. Okay. Now every organization wants to have BA. Okay. So that is where you see a lot of job opportunities around business analyst. The only thing that you will not see is freshers in BA. If you say I recently graduated, or let's say I did my graduation in 2025, I want to apply as a BA, you might see lesser job opportunities for BA, fresher BA. Okay. You'll see more job opportunities for experienced BA, 2 plus, 3 plus years of experience. Okay. I hope I answered your question, Aslam. How can we manage the experience as BA after completion of course? So the entire course that we will be going through, it's not theoretical course that you require or that you will not be able to manage the experience. So at every point in time, we go through actual real-time work. Okay. So we give you hands-on on writing requirement. We gives you hands-on on a particular project as well, so that you learn from it. Now in BA, that is all that you need. Okay. It's not a coding job where you might have to think of a logic on how do I write this code, or I'm not good at writing code. If you are good at managing or talking to people, if you have good communication skills, if you are confident, if you are willing to ask questions, if you can, like, be calm, then you will be able to manage your job efficiently. You see, there will be learning curve in every job. I'm not saying that after this course you will become a master of BA and you will never have learning again in your life. Yeah. Obviously, the real world work where the company is paying you, you will obviously be little bit anxious. So there will be learning. So embrace that learning. Okay, that's all I can say. You cannot run away from learning. But during the entire course, I'll share tips with you. I'll share tricks with you on how can you how can you ride the boat carefully when you get into organization, so that you don't have to worry about working with someone or delegating your task to someone. Okay, you can all do the management all by yourself. Okay, you will not require anyone else. Maybe you will have certain doubts, maybe you will have certain clarifications. For that, you can always reach out to us. Even after course completion, if you have certain doubts, when you start your job, you can still reach out to us. Okay. But you will not require a full-time support because you'll have the required knowledge, you'll have the required skill set. So you can do your job all by yourself. But in cases where you have certain doubts or clarifications, we can still guide you. Any other questions? Yeah, I'll take the silence as no questions. Well, thank you everyone for your time.